Everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations. This is Simon, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my reflections on the new moon in Capricorn. This is happening in January the 10th, 2016. Now, what I'm sharing with you is an excerpt from the membership video that I create for everybody that is part of the membership. And this is just like a 10-minute video just sharing with you what I think is really important. And of course, in the membership programs, I go into extensive detail on how to actually manifest into your life. Okay. So here's what I would like to share with everybody regarding this new moon in Capricorn. I personally feel it's an incredibly powerful one for us. I also believe that for many of us on the planet at this stage, if we're able to really deeply tap into what is occurring for us beyond the physical senses, we are going through an incredibly transformational time, spiritually speaking. And I think one of my major sort of like inspirations when sharing this video with you today is to maybe expand our sense of awareness around what is available for us right now with this new moon in Capricorn. Okay. I really love this picture, to be honest, because it truly captures the essence of the Capricorn archetype, the Cancer archetype. It really captures the essence of the feminine and the masculinity. It captures the essence of Virgo and Pisces, so it's such this picture just is absolutely amazing, and I love it so much. I think what I really want to do is also just like explain to you exactly what I mean by those Virgo Pisces statements and Capricorn, Cancer, and feminine and masculine. If you have a look over here, this part of the chart, or this part of, should I say, the picture, is the sky. It is what we are boundlessly able to actually expand to. And that's why it's like reach for the stars, basically, because it's the light. It's the area within our consciousness that we are wanting to gravitate towards. It's higher consciousness, right? So the higher chakras, as it were. You can see this in nature just as the way that everything from trees, for instance, grow upwards. And it also represents the Pisces archetype of the enormity of our existence. If you have a look over here, you can actually see that the mountain represents that growth process in Capricorn. That's why in mundane astrology, you'll always notice there's association with the goat, and the goat is climbing the mountain. For us to achieve maturity and a sense of direction in our lives, we are firstly in need to realize that growth is not a process of just instant manifestation. It is a very lengthy procedure, and maturity and wisdom comes through the experience of like moving through life. So if you had to apply these principles of the Capricorn energy to your life, it is about climbing a mountain, and you're rising above situations and circumstances that brings you more illumination. And you can see that over here. I mean, this picture just amplifies what you could honestly say life is about it just literally has that, a thousand words. It's like our biggest question in life. What is life? Well, here we go. And we can also take from this picture over here the way in which we experience ourselves. Like, this is the feminine archetype. This is the experience of Cancer, where it's our roots. It's the bottom of our ancestral karma that we come from. It's the journey that we undertake as we choose to incarnate onto this plane, and it's right at the bottom here. It's the darkness as it can be perceived. And so it is our journey through the experiences and through our the curves and the resistances. As you can see, there's resistance over there, so therefore we naturally sort of grow or expand in what is naturally going to allow us least resistance. You can see that procedure there, right? It would be pointless if we went up the mountain like that. It would be a little bit more difficult. So evolution, and for us to really tap into what is growth and so on and so forth, can be perceived as taking the road that has the least amount of resistance. And it's kind of a paradox, because resistance is what actually grows us, and yet simultaneously it's also what directs us. So as we take the path of least resistance, we're actually being guided into the direction that is actually what we are supposed to do. And Capricorn reflects that, especially anybody that's got like lots of Capricorn in their chart, Pluto in the 10th house, like myself, Uranus in the 10th house, Saturn in the 10th house, or Saturn in Capricorn, Uranus in Capricorn, etc., you're always going to come across situations and circumstances where you feel like you're limited in every capacity, and yet finally you come to a realization that that limitation actually pushed you in a different direction, that then became the journey that allowed you to wake up even deeper to your story. So there's intense amounts of like lessons that we can understand about limitations within our consciousness, and also the boundaries that we have within our own lives that stop us from actually seeing creation in its most beautiful essence. And it's kind of ironic, because if you had to look at this whole picture here, the totality of it just completely envelops you into a state of oneness regarding what is creation. And if you had to divide it, you could actually see that from this perspective over here, it seems very sort of dull and difficult, and whereas over here it's like expansive and magnitudinal, and there's this beautiful light. And yet actually to get to that space has to be done through this road here, and this only exists, or should I say, this only exists because of that journey. So it's a beautiful, beautiful picture, and I really love the way that it actually captivates Capricorn completely. And I think that this is why this picture came up for me regarding what the new moon symbolizes. It's this next step in our evolution, where we're learning to integrate and harmonize both of these archetypes essentially within ourselves, and to actually be present with those archetypes representing us totally all the time. We've experienced matriarchy, we've experienced patriarchy, we've experienced divine feminine, we experienced divine masculine, and now it's about like operating simultaneously to see the whole picture, right? So here's the chart for the new moon, and of course on the left hand, on the right hand side, I've actually got the planetary south nodes. And once again, I'm going to bring this into our consciousness and recognize that, as you can see, Pluto's at 15 degrees, the moon's at 18 and 19, the sun's at 19. And look at that, okay? That's the south node of Pluto at this point in time. There's the south node of Jupiter. So the south node of Jupiter represents to us the structure or the belief systems that we have evolved through as a collective race, and what the planet has been evolving through. The south node of Pluto represents those choices and stories that we've made, and what type of desires we are looking to evolve through. And again, of course, with every single one of us on the planet today, all these archetypes are with us. Okay, it's not like, oh, I've got those and then somebody else has got that. We've all share collectively those three symbols in our birth chart, and that manifests itself in reality as the nature of reality at this point in time, the structured nature of reality. Jupiter can be referenced through the way that we understand our philosophy to truth. You know, we have organized religion. In an individuated state, we've got ideas about what we think reality is through psychology and the rules and regulations about what is right and what is wrong there. And then in spiritual state, it's that need for self-determination and self-analysis and taking responsibility for one's life. You've got Pluto then operating through that desire to evolve through that structure, causing us to obviously then, as a byproduct, create a structured reality where what we have here is limitations, what we have here is personal growth, and so on and so forth. And the south node of Saturn, of course, then reflects to us the nature of what type of authority we give to the world. Do we give sovereignty to ourselves, or do we externalize that? And if you look at the nature of consciousness at this point in time, there are different levels to it. And so the majority of the people on the planet at this stage are evolving through a consensus state reality, leaving us in a place where there is many different types of occupations and governments, etc., that give people the answers towards life, because they themselves don't know how to actually take responsibility for their lives yet, because they're so new to this experience. Whereas maybe people like myself and you that are watching this video right now are awakening to our own choices and our own sort of self-responsibility, and understanding that we don't really need as much governance externally to be able to guide the story that it is that we have come to understand through the unfoldment of our lives. So with this new moon, obviously on those south node points, we're becoming very acutely aware of that story. And in the outside world, of course, there's mass distortions And in the inside world, we're learning to purge ourselves from those distortions. Hence the reason why we've got Jupiter and Neptune and Chiron all in Pisces Virgo. It's that cleansing process. It's that clarification of what it is that is an illusion versus what's real. And with Saturn and Venus in a conjunction over there in Sag, the kind of smaller story in terms of where we are in relationship to this bigger cosmic cycle, which is massive, by the way. We're dealing with over 6,000 years worth of collective evolution, is we're coming to realize how disconnected we are from nature. And what's ironic about the situation is, or the paradox, should I say, is that that statement itself is not actually the truth, because we can't be disconnected from nature because we are it. We're a living organism just like it. And so therefore we and nature are the same. It's the distortions within our consciousness that remind us of our separation through our actions. And so this kind of Saturn story here in Sag, and Venus in Sag, and Virgo, of course, being highly emphasized, and we're getting to be reminded of the importance of removing that thin veil of illusion that keeps us in a sense of entrapment regarding what is nature and what we are. So if we're going to try and figure out how to answer the bigger questions in life about what we are and who we are, if we're starting from the point of looking outside of ourselves, we're never going to answer that question in its totality. Therefore, always keeping us separate under the illusion. So it's a very important thing to recognize and implement within your life over the next kind of like month, especially as Jupiter's retrograde and especially as Mercury's also retrograde as well, to recognize where your mind has had inception, where you have ideas about what reality is in relationship to what the actual nature of reality is. So that if you choose to want to answer the bigger questions about not only your life, but about your soul's path, you're not operating from a place in which the answer is never going to manifest in its truest form because you're not looking in the right place. Make sense? So the North Node in North Node of Jupiter, North Node of Cancer, the North Node of Pluto, and obviously Saturn is in this particular time asking us to reconstruct the nature of our identification of who we are and what we are in relationship to what is truly us versus what we have labeled ourselves to be in the past. And this is a big task. So my challenge for everybody today is to go out onto the internet and find something that you want to improve within your life, and choose to ask yourself whether or not this is something that will benefit you, and how much of your conditioning prevents you from believing in yourself, how much of your conditioning prevents you from giving yourself that ability to integrate something new into your life that is going to shift you closer to who you are versus away from what it is that you are. Okay? So I'm going to try that out, and I'll get back to you, sort of in the next, in the full moon regarding that. Okay? Other than that, guys, thanks very much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it, and I hope that you have a fantastic week. Take care. Bye-bye.